The stage is set in the theater of your own mind, where every fleeting idea has the power to spark creation or destruction. Master your thoughts. Master your life. Simple words that hide a grueling battle, one waged behind the silent curtains of your psyche. Most never see that war, though they live in its aftermath, torn between ambition and self-sabotage, between hopes they dare not voice and fears they cannot silence. The mind is an untamed beast, a playground for illusions and nightmares, weaving possible outcomes with the deft hand of a puppeteer. If you do not command this creature, it will devour your potential, leaving husks of lost dreams in its wake. The irony is how quietly it all happens. No fireworks, no dramatic lightning, just an endless swirl of ungoverned thoughts, spinning webs of confusion around your soul. But the moment you seize the reins, the moment you refuse to be a mere spectator to the carnival of your own thought patterns, you begin to glimpse the edges of mastery. When that mastery dawns, reality bows to the stage you create. For a disciplined mind shapes the path ahead, forging wonders out of the same chaos that destroys those who remain unguarded. Everything starts within. You see people cowering behind elaborate masks, whispering about changing the world without first changing the contents of their own heads. They wage battles in the external realm, never suspecting that the real war is fought in the caverns of conscience, in the labyrinth of imagination. Darkness seeps into the cracks, forging illusions they call reality, illusions that keep them stuck. Sometimes they realize it too late, when existence has lost its luster, and they gasp for a sense of direction. But thoughts are the alpha and the omega. They conjure your nightmares. They seed your hopes. They color the routine black or gold. By mastering thought, you take the shapeless clay of possibility and mold it into something unstoppable, something that outlasts the fleeting confusions of every day. Let the mind roam free without training, and it becomes a parasite, draining your vitality. But lock eyes with your thoughts, wrestle them under your command, and watch as a new dawn breaks. Suddenly, fear becomes a stepping stone, not a chain. Dreams become blueprints, not fantasies. Life transforms at the speed of a single recalibrated thought, and that is the terrifying power you hold. Of course, the mind never surrenders easily. Each unguarded second is a chance for doubt to slip through the cracks, for old habits to reclaim their territory. The mind thrives on patterns, routines, repetitive illusions that lull you back to complacency. Habit is the great anesthetic, numbing the spark that reminds you that you are more than a puppet to the mental reels spinning overhead. Those reels spin illusions of acceptance, illusions of mediocrity, illusions shaped by forces you scarcely recall. But to master your thoughts demands vigilance as relentless as the tides. Let go for a moment, and the old patterns swarm in, hungry to reestablish their empire. But hold firm. Remain conscious, and your mind becomes a fortress. Each thought a sentinel standing watch. Each intention a lock that keeps the restless dragons of despair and doubt at bay. The world doesn't prepare you for this fight. It encourages you to blame external factors, to shift responsibility for your emotions, your failures, your inertia. But the silent truth stands. Once the mind is mastered, the external factors fade, shadows on the walls of your personal domain. Struggle though it may, the mind can be tamed, and when it is, the shapes of your possible futures align in your favor. Darkness lurks in the corners of an untamed mind, fueling self-sabotage and whispered betrayals. The strongest illusions are the ones whispered by your own doubts, telling you life is too big, dreams too far, abilities too small. But illusions are illusions. They hold no power once the mind sees them for the phantoms they are. That recognition can be violent, forcing you to face how deeply you've believed in illusions, how willingly you fed them. Some illusions feed your fears, others your vanity, still others your complacency. All illusions rob you of authentic living. Taming your thoughts means exiling these phantoms, banishing them to the void. Doing so drags you through fire, because illusions have grown comfortable as parasites. They do not leave quietly. Yet in that fiery confrontation lies liberation, a savage peace that comes only from exorcising the demons you once allowed to build shrines in your head. The black humor of it all is that illusions never had real teeth. Their bite was always reliant on your silent permission. People talk about forging destiny as if destiny lives in the sky, an external gift bestowed upon the favored. But destiny is an inside job, assembled from the raw matter of your thoughts and decisions, welded together by the flame of your focus. Plant seeds of expectation in the field of your mind. Let each seed represent a fearless conviction that you are capable, that success is not just a whisper of fantasy, but an inevitable outgrowth of your focused intention. Many people live among weeds of doubt, carefully cultivated by a society that profits from their self-imposed limitations. They accept these doubts as if they were sacred prophecies, never questioning the origins of such crippling narratives. Yet the mind is more fertile than the most ancient soil, and if you command it, it will grow what you plant. Let each breath carry a promise that you can and will overcome obstacles. Treat these promises as living things. Feed them with unwavering belief. Shield them from the weeds of cynicism that creep in unannounced. This is not a charade or self-delusion. It is creation of new mental architecture, building towers of achievement from bricks of conviction. The world may sneer at such confidence, label it arrogance, but confidence is simply the currency of those who understand that a mind convinced of success is halfway there. If you dare, watch how these seeds grow roots that break apart the foundation of every fear holding you captive. Each root taps into hidden reserves of potential, drawing nourishment from your darkest corners, transforming your perceived weaknesses into the nutrient that fuels eventual triumph. In a realm where many flounder in reactive panic, your certainty remains the single defining force. No matter how chaotic your surroundings, no matter how deafening the roars that try to drown your resolve. For chaos might swirl, storms might gather, but seeds planted in a mind, convinced will weather every gale. The beauty is how swiftly these seeds push through the debris of the old you, that timid version, crushed under illusions of unworthiness. Once they break the surface, there's no reversing their growth. They reach for the sky of your aspirations, guided by an inner sun that never sets. If planted with care and determination, they become a garden that outlasts the harshest seasons. Anticipate achievement, not as a distant dream, but as a lover you beckon into your arms. This is not naive optimism. It is a strategic stance against the tyranny of fear. Doubt loves to interrupt the planting process, sullying the seeds with toxic suggestions that you lack the credentials, the background, the spark of genius. Doubt stares into your eyes, measuring your reluctance, feeding on each tremble of hesitation. But that's the moment you outwit it. You respond by cultivating a mindset that expects victory. The mind, cunning in its own right, adapts swiftly to the instructions given. If the instruction is gloom, it spirals downward. If the instruction is unwavering faith in your ability to conquer, it cycles upward, building momentum with each day. People call it arrogance or delusion. Let them. Their misunderstandings are the weeds that can't root in your fertile grounds, because you no longer spare the water of your attention for them. The process of planting seeds of expectation involves risk. The risk of disappointment if you fail. But the greater risk is never trying, never allowing your mind to align with the concept of being unstoppable. If you plan to fail from the start, your mind shapes that reality, ensuring your safety, but locking you in a dull existence. The villainous elegance in focusing your mind on achievement is that it leaves naysayers baffled. They can't sway a mind that's already decided the outcome. They might try to sabotage you, call your confidence a facade. But by then, your seeds have already taken root, and they're blossoming into an armor of belief so thick that their efforts only highlight your resolve. The final irony is how belief transforms the environment around you, turning obstacles into mere stepping stones for your ascension. Belief in personal capability is the silent spell that reorders the chaos of daily life. Many hope for miracles to descend from the heavens, never suspecting that the only miracle needed is a mind convinced of its own might. This mental shift is a form of sorcery, weaving expectations of triumph into the tapestry of your reality. But be warned, sorcery demands discipline. The seeds of positive expectation flourish only when carefully tended and protected from the storms of negativity that rage just beyond the boundary of your consciousness. You craft a mental fortress where each rampart is a conviction that no weakness, no obstacle, no misfortune can overshadow your potential. People on the outside hear rumors of such internal fortresses, and some dismiss it as naive positivity. Let them remain outside, peasants at the gates of your domain, whispering jealous incantations that have no power within your walls. The mind, once given permission to anticipate the extraordinary, reshapes everything. Where others see defeat, you see a puzzle yet to be solved. Many of us manufacture our own unhappiness, shaping it out of the raw clay of everyday events. We gather little slights, perceived insults, minor setbacks, and fuse them into a menacing idol that looms over our psyche. The world may weigh on our shoulders with social forces we never asked for, but that doesn't fully account for the gloom we perpetuate in ourselves. The darkest trick the mind plays is that it can take any ingredient life provides, be it bitterness or sweetness, and distill from it a poison that seeps into our perspective. Imagine a brew simmering slowly in the cauldron of our thoughts, turning mundane annoyances into monstrous resentments. This brew becomes an elixir of sorrow, devoured daily, without question. Others fail to realize that each drop is self-produced, an unhappiness we diligently craft from 1,000 small misunderstandings. Strange how we often blame the universe, fate, or the cruelty of existence, never pausing to consider the part we play in the tragedy. The mind is no passive bystander, but an alchemist, weaving experiences into meaning. A single rude remark can be molded into a personal apocalypse if the mindset is primed for negativity, or it can be shrugged off like dust from a cloak if the mindset is anchored in resilience. There's a twisted elegance in how we assume external circumstances are the puppet masters of our gloom, when so frequently we sit behind the curtains, controlling the strings ourselves. Even the worst social conditions, oppressive though they might be, do not account for the daily sabotage we inflict by dwelling on what we lack rather than what we can create. The darkest irony is that many find comfort in unhappiness, wearing it like a familiar garment. They tinker with their woes, adjusting them for maximum regret, forging gloom into an identity they cling to, even as it strangles the life from their dreams. Consider how each morning arrives with the raw potential for light or shadow, and how swiftly we choose to dwell on what went wrong yesterday, what might go wrong tomorrow, and how everything in between is just a stage for our grievances. This inclination to ruminate on negativity metastasizes like a quiet sickness, reducing us to shadows of what we could become. Then, ironically, we blame everything outside ourselves, parents, teachers, colleagues, for this despair. Yet beneath the excuses, a creeping realization takes root. The seeds of suffering were planted by our very own hands. Each bitter reflection, each repeated complaint, adds another link to the chain that keeps us bound to misery. Some grow so accustomed to this self-inflicted captivity that they fear the day the chains might break, for it would reveal just how complicit they were in forging those links. In the catacombs of the mind, perspective is the real currency. The same event can become a stepping stone or a tombstone, depending on how it's processed. A missed promotion at work is devastation for one person, a spark of determination for another. The difference resides not in the event, but in the viewpoint. When you simmer in negativity, a missed opportunity becomes yet another chapter in the tragic opera of your existence. Meanwhile, someone else, unaffected by the same sorrowful lens, interprets the setback as a temporary challenge. The stage is the same, but the scripts differ. People who harness this difference realize how flexible thoughts can be, shaping or shattering experiences at will. This notion might unnerve those who cling to the idea that external circumstances dictate everything. But for those who see the cracks in that foundation, an entire cosmos of possibility emerges. Darkness finds its way in easiest when the mind remains unsupervised. We let mental chatter roam wild, rewriting mundane interactions as epic betrayals or ominous warnings. Before long, we've crafted a narrative of relentless doom, ignoring that life's raw ingredients are neutral at best. The villainy behind self-created unhappiness isn't that it exists. It's that we cultivate it so habitually. We water our resentments, weed out positivity, and yield a harvest of despair every season, as if proud of our horticultural mastery. This is the twisted artistry of a mind left unchecked, capable of distilling agony out of events that might be mild or even beneficial. Watch how a small criticism from a friend morphs into a personal attack, like poison swirling in the bloodstream, transforming that friend's entire being into an antagonist. Strange how quickly an otherwise benign moment can become a black hole sucking in any lingering hope. We do this repeatedly, forging an identity out of sorrow, cherishing it like some tragic heirloom.